Welcome back to part 2, build up slash going to church by myself without my family. So, like I said in the first video, I was going to church, but I was going to church by myself because my mom kept getting called in, and so now I was relying on Mother, I'm going to just say her name, Mother Samela and Cameron to take me to church. And so, that was a big, a big way that God was like removing me from my familiar. Not just in the way I was fasting and praying, but my audience that I was around. He took the familiar away by placing me with my church family instead of like my family at home. He started to pull me out of my shell of being shy because, like I said, my mom wasn't going, which is my familiar place. That's my mother. I am my mommy's girl, literally, not a daddy's girl, a mother's girl, or a mommy's girl, however you want to say it. So when she wasn't going to church, I will have to go, with my church family and actually open up my mouth and talk, and yeah, that was really difficult in the beginning because I didn't know who they were. We had a whole lot of new members who I didn't know. We had some familiar faces, but not a lot. And so I'm going to just say I have like trust issues. I have my own issues other than hurt and pain that I've had been going through. So I was like, okay, Lord, you told me to go to church, but now you want me to talk. Now you want me to have a conversation. Now you want me to be without my mom. Like, it was just like, I was like, excuse me, like, where's my mom? Like, when is my mom going to come? And he was like, no, I have to separate you. And I said, huh? Like, excuse me? Like, what did you say? Because my mom knows me, for one. I know that my mom is going to accept me for who I am, regardless of if I'm weird or just different in general. So automatically, I'm assuming that they're not going to accept me. They're going to judge me. Total opposite of how I thought that they were going to treat me. They were very welcoming and open to learning who I was and just accepting who I was. But when you've been around the wrong people for so long, it's kind of hard to accept if these are the right people. And so that's where trust in God comes in. You have to trust and know that He has your best interests at heart. And so you have to just be willing to trust and try again, with the new people He placed in your life. So that was just what that lesson was all about, going to church by myself without my family. It was about learning to trust again and learning that not everyone is the same as far as like being a user or taker or just being that negative person, that God will place positive people. As long as you are working on yourself, you will attract a different crowd of people. So as long as I kept working on myself and bringing positive mindsets and thoughts, like, okay, today I'm not going to just sit by myself and listen to my music. I'm going to actually engage in a conversation, and we'll actually have a great conversation. I have discovered that we had a lot in common, and that it's okay to, befriend someone and to have friends, because I'm telling you, I'm a loner. Like, I'm not a loner because, like, I just don't want to be bothered or anything, but I'm a loner because I really do have trust issues, and I just rather protect myself than to get hurt. But there's a time and place for that, and I think I'm learning a balance between who I should talk to and who I should not talk to. It's discernment. I'm learning to tap in more into my discernment, but other than that, yeah, it was a total opposite of what I thought it was going to be. At times, though, it's still kind of hard because I'm still breaking out of the shell. But, yeah, I'm glad that I did trust God and open up my mouth and speak. Or, I mean, it could have been a time where, this could have been a time, sorry, that I could have missed out on the people who he was placing to be in my life. And just by me not trusting him and trying something different, trying something new, and accepting the newness that he had placed in my life. So if you're in a place of transitioning where you are leaving some people who are familiar to you and God is placing new people, try to have an open mind and an open heart to know that God is trying to do something new, and he's trying to make sure that you are surrounded by positive people, especially if you're doing the work like I am. He'll put you in an environment where people are, what am I trying to say? They have your best interest at heart, but we're not gonna know if you don't open your mouth, if you don't, learn to trust again. So, yeah. What else did I learn? Going to church by myself without my family. Oh yes, Um, I learned that God was giving me like a second chance to finish off what I couldn't with my grandmother, because when my grandmother passed, although I visited her every chance I got, I called her every chance I got, the day that she had passed away, God had told me to go see her. And I was just so tired. I was going to school all the way in San Francisco, coming home at midnight, taking my little brother to school, then going back to school, not even going home to go back to sleep. And so I was just exhausted. And God told me, he was like, go to the bathroom, because that's what I had to do after dropping off my brother, and go to the hospital. But I was like, Lord, I'm so tired. I'll have time later on to go see her. And that's one of the things that I'm working on letting go of guilt from, because he told me to go. And so because I didn't go, I feel like I could have said my proper goodbye to her, because when we got to the hospital, she was already gone. I thought she was sleeping, but she was already gone. And I literally screamed to the point where all the nurses came in thinking that something was wrong. But yeah, it was, something was wrong. I was disobedient, and I was reaping the consequences of not listening to God and going to go see her before she passed. So the reason why I said I'm getting a second chance to finish off what I couldn't with my grandmother is because the mother of the house, of El Shaddai, Mother Samela, one of the mothers, I should say, this in our short amount of time of being together, I'm able to care for her in the way that I would have wanted to care for my grandmother. And so that's why I'm saying I'm getting a second chance, and I'm not taking advantage of this time at all. It's hard at times to pour out my heart, because I'm so used to losing people. I'll share more about losing people and how that has affected my life and how I trust, and it just all ties in, but it'll be in a different video. But before my absence of last year, I lost a lot of people. I mean, a lot, like back to back, like over 40 people, and just in the amount of time of 4 years, I believe. It was like 10 people each year, probably 5 people each. Either way, it was a dramatic amount of people since my grandma died in 2014. I've lost people who were young, old, didn't know they was even dying, like had a great amount of health going for them, and they just dropped dead. So back to my grandmother and back to Mother Samila having a second chance. Like, I catered to her as if she was my grandmother, and although she's not my grandmother, and I'm not trying to replace her, because no one can replace my grandmother. My grandmother's my grandma. That's my nana. But I'm taking advantage of being able to love her in the way that I wanted to love my grandmother if she was still here. And so for that, I'm grateful. I am beyond grateful. I'm still learning to know that it's okay to still love hard. Like I said before, it's okay, but sometimes it can be hard because you just want that person. Like, at times I just want my nana. Like, me and my nana had a different language. We had a language where we didn't have to talk. We could just read each other's body language, or she could just feel me, like going through having a bad day, and she'd just call me, or I'll call her and she'll pray for me, or she could just come pick me up. Like, we just had a different love language. And so although that's totally different from me and Samela, we still have we have a language, I believe, as well. I just have to figure it out. But I'm going to take all the time I can and, you know, just enjoy her and, yeah, and open up my heart to her and let her know that she's loved and that I love her. And yeah, I'm just grateful that God gave me this opportunity. I am, because it grieved me. I mean, literally grieved me to the point where I was just like, Lord, how could I ever not listen to you and be obedient? You know, it was just like one of those things where I talk about being obedient. I talk about listening to the voice of God. But that day, that specific day, I thought I could do what I wanted to do and go visit her. And it still sometimes affects me, but I'm learning to let it go, because either way it go, whether I was there or not, she was going to pass that day. And so I have to realize that I wasn't going to be able to save her. Like, she knew she was leaving. We knew she was leaving, but we didn't think it was as soon as she left. Like, honestly, she didn't even die of what she went in for. She went in to get a heart murmur, I think, like to pace her heart. And she didn't even die from that or cancer, because she had that too. She ended up dying from syphilis, which is a bacteria that you get from the hospital for not having proper hygiene. So that's what took her out, and my grandpa. But I'll talk about that another time. But yeah, I have to say, Aaliyah, you know, it wasn't going to save her either way, whether you were there or not. She was going to leave. But I knew that if I would have been in that moment with her, I would have had a proper goodbye for one, and I would have had peace. And I still have peace, because I did talk to her, I think, a day or two before she passed. But it's just like, if I was just there in that moment, maybe it would have been different, because me and my Nana was close. Not no buddy type. I'm talking about like rib to rib. Not even like rib to rib, but we had a very deep connection that I only know that God allowed to happen, because, yeah, literally. Like I said, I'll be at home having a bad day. My mom at work still, and I just need someone to talk to. And she'll literally be like, Aaliyah, she'll be at the door. And we had steps, y'all. My grandma, her knees was bothering, all that. She'll be right there. She'll be like, what's going on? You know, and she'll come pick me up. We'll go get ice cream or whatever. But I'm going to go into this next video titled, what is it? Oh, this will be part 3. Family coming with me to church. So stay tuned to part 3, series 4, titled Build Up. And so, yeah, stay tuned.